Before you quit your job and decide to travel the world carefree, worrying about the money situation later, understand that that lifestyle does come with sacrifices, one of which being that traveling on a budget means you cannot pay for every convenience that a gainfully employed vacationer can. I'm about to tell the story from the worst travel day for my 3 months in Southeast Asia, and one of the days when I realized I gotta find a way to make this money because certain sacrifices are not worth it in my book. I was headed from Phnom Penh to Siem Reap, Cambodia, and I had booked a nice luxury sleeper bus. I had to pay for 2 seats because the single aisle row was sold out, and I didn't want to have nobody laying beside me. But due to my poor planning and me underestimating the traffic in Phnom Penh, I missed that bus. It was pretty late in the day, so alternative options were slim pickings. If I wanted to rebook with that company, I was going to have to pay the same price again to leave the next day, pay for somewhere to stay for that night in Phnom Penh, and lose the money for the first night of my accommodation in Siem Reap because I already had that reservation booked. And the cheaper alternative to that option was booking a last minute late night ticket with one of the few buses that were still available. But the problem was none of the ones from the reviews I was looking at seemed to meet my general standard for transportation. But I'm like, 3.5 stars, how bad can it be? It was pretty bad. So whatever, I booked my ticket, I pull up to the station, I'm looking around, it's very local. Like usually if you're booking the more expensive option, a lot of the people taking those are tourists. But I was in that station, I'm like, I don't think that anybody in here is a tourist. And I also could not find anyone that spoke English. But that's fine. I talked to the staff with Google Translate, figured out where I needed to wait for my bus. But then apparently there was some issue. It got delayed. The man comes up to me and gives me a piece of paper and says that like I need to look for this license plate because something changed and now we're gonna be in a van, not in a bus. I'm like, yeah, whatever, that's fine. But what wasn't fine is that van taking an additional 3 hours when our original departure time was 8:30 p.m. And it's approximately a 5-hour drive. The van arrives. I'm trying to board first so that I can get a good seat, not realizing they had already assigned the seats. And the seat that I ended up in was they had like 2 seats on one side and then 1 seat on the other side. And the last row had 4 seats. And I was the seat in the last row that was like in the aisle so I could spread my legs out. And I was like, oh, cool, that's fine. No, not cool, because they were trying to fit as many people as possible into that van. So as people started getting in, they were grabbing boxes and putting them in the space in the aisle between the 2 rows so that more people could fit in those spaces. So I'm squished in the back of this van between 2 grown men so big that I couldn't even put the seatbelt in the seatbelt thing, and a person seated in front of me on an upside down bucket, questioning all of my decisions in life. But it's also like midnight and I'm just trying to get to where I got to go. We start on our journey. I'm not able to sleep because the driver is whipping that van like there are no traffic laws in Cambodia. I'm not sure what the route was supposed to be, but we were driving through neighborhoods, picking up and dropping off people at what seemed to be their houses. At one point, we picked up a cage of chickens, and you might be imagining a cage with a couple of chickens in it. No, it was a cage stuffed to animal rights violation capacity full of chickens, and they just like strapped it to the top of the van. I really had to poop, but every time we made a rest stop, I was too afraid to go because I didn't want to get left, and they weren't speaking in English saying how long we were staying at the stop, so I didn't exactly know how long I had. Also, the rest stops were places where you would not want to poop in the first place. It was an awful experience. I hated every second of it, but because of such sacrifices, I was able to see Angkor Wat at sunrise, and that's pretty cool, I guess.